Who said you can't use dye inks with embossing folders? Today I've got a fun and very simple card to share with you to show that you certainly can, and it gives you a fantastic effect. So let's get started. Welcome back, it's Therese and Lostinpaper, and it's time to hop along with Old to New. And today I'm going to be using the Majestic Bloom 3D embossing folder. These are amazing. They're so thick that they give you such awesome texture on a card, and this is a beautiful bloom. Now these folders are 6 by 6 inches, so fantastic for lots of different reasons. I have a piece of A2 cardstock cut here. It's a Nina 80 pound, and the great thing about this is you can actually move it around within the embossing folder and change where the pattern's going to be. There is also a gap at the top of the folder, so if you are wanting to do a slimline card or an elongated section, you can move the cardstock along and emboss different sections. Now I'm just choosing an ink here. I want a real sort of subtle effect, and I've got all my ink swatches stamped out. You can find these ink swatch panels, I don't know what they're called, swatches at Old to New, where the crisp dye inks are, and download them. I would recommend that you actually stamp the inks out on the cardstock that you regularly stamp on, and it's going to give you a more true colour. So very simple today. I just chose the flat side of the embossing folder and swiped my ink across. I chose a nice pale grey. It's the Morning Frost ink, and I'm just adding lots of ink to the area. I don't want to come back and have to try and re-emboss, because it's going to be hard for me to find the exact place to re-emboss the image. Now I had sort of worked out roughly where I wanted my image to be on my panel, and then it's just a matter of running it through my die cutting machine. I am using my Big Shot here because it's not going to press my cardstock and crack it too much. Like I found the Gemini just has too much pressure at times, and then I can simply just clean my embossing folder with a wet rag. I've got the ink blending tool here from Old to New, and I'm just adding a little bit of extra colour to the edges of the panel just to make that image pop a little bit more. And I will show you a little bit in a moment how awesome this flower embossed. It is stunning. So of course we're hopping along, so don't forget to comment along the way, and all the hop details I will have listed in the description below, as well as a link to my blog post where you can find more details about this card. Now I struggled a little bit with the sentiment, gotta say, but I grabbed the simple greeting die set and ended up actually just adding the word thanks in white. And I mean, it is visible, but it just reminds me of sandstone. I thought that was just something a little bit different. I've popped it up on some fun foam, which I die cut with the word thanks as well, and join that together with some liquid glue. And I've got a top fold card here. I'm adding some adhesive. I am using quite a bit of adhesive because obviously there's a lot of texture to this panel. It didn't warp when I ran it through my die cutting machine, but I don't want it to shift. So I always err on the side of never too much adhesive. And I have drawers of this stuff, so if you ever run out, pop round, I'll put the kettle on, and I am happy to share. Okay, so I'm just going to remove my sentiment from the fun foam. I just take my time because I don't want the cardstock to separate from the foam, and then I can just take the backing paper off because this is adhesive, this fun foam, and attach it to the front of my card. I hope you are inspired to try some dye inks on your embossing panels. It really gives a great effect. You can also use pigment inks and paints as well. There's so much you can do. They're a great product to have lots of fun with. If you enjoyed today's video, please click on the thumbs up button. If you haven't already, it'd be wonderful if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. I appreciate every visit you make here. Till next time, happy paper crafting. Bye.